So 13a says to complete the generic rectangle below. As I'm talking, please copy down that generic rectangle right there with the numbers on the side. Okay, get that copied down on your paper. There is definitely a question like this on your final. Again, everything in this review guide in some way or form is on the final. This question looks very similar to an actual final question. The only difference is that these numbers on the side are going to be changed. So as long as you know how to do the process, you'll be totally good with this. Now, the question asks you to complete the generic rectangle below. Let's see if we remember how to do this. This lower box here, the bottom left box, I'll give you a hint. We're supposed to do something with the sides. What is the operation that I want to do with 5 and 6x? Am I supposed to add those, subtract those, multiply them, divide them, make a fraction, square root them? What is the thing I have to do to get the inside portion there? All right, Christian says that we need to multiply, and then Daniel's telling us what the answer is, and I agree. So when you're doing a generic rectangle, remember we have to multiply the sides to get the inside box. So I take 5 times 6x, that becomes 30x. I'm going to go up here to the top now. And with the top, these are the sides that I'm looking at, 2x and 6x. So if I have 2x times 6x, what does that make? What does 2x times 6x make? Perfect. Absolutely perfect, Carla. It's going to make for us 12x squared. If that trips you up, do the numbers first. I have 2 times 6. We know 2 times 6 makes 12. Now do the variables. X times x, that makes x squared. All right. Over here in this box, we have 2x times negative 7. Again, do the numbers if that helps you first. Negative 7 times 2 makes negative 14. I just have an x here, so I'll write the x right there. Finally, down here we have 5 times negative 7. 5 times negative 7. Again, you can have a calculator if you need one. That becomes negative 35. No worries for being late. You got to catch up, though. Get a piece of paper out. You just missed a lot of review. Okay? All right, so the question says, what's the area as the product? Please remember that the product means that you're multiplying things. The product is always going to look like this. 2 sets of parentheses. Do we remember what goes inside the parentheses? Is it the stuff inside or is it the stuff outside? What goes for the product for the inside pieces here? Inside the parentheses. Am I writing the stuff inside or am I writing the stuff that's outside the generic rectangle? Christian's saying that he thinks it's the outside. I absolutely agree. Please remember that product uses the sides of your generic rectangle. So I'm going to write that side here. That is 2x plus 5. If you wanted to, you could write 5 plus 2x, but we normally write the x term first. So I'm going to write this side for my first set of parentheses. The bottom side here is my second set of parentheses. So I'm going to write 6x minus 7. That is our product. Now we go to our sum. And our sum is all of the stuff inside, right? All of the stuff inside, we need to add it together. Remember, sum is when you add something, you get the sum of those two things. So I just need to write all of this stuff out like I'm adding it. So I have 12x squared plus 30x minus 14x minus 35. Does anyone remember what I'm supposed to do as a final step here? I think there's one last thing I can do with that sum. Anyone remember? Yeah, we want to simplify. Okay, we want to simplify because I see here in the middle, I have 30 x's. I have negative 14 x's. We can combine our like terms. We can combine those together. Really, it's this diagonal on our generic rectangle. We always want to simplify that. So if I have 30 x's and I take 14 away, then we're just left with 12x squared. That becomes plus 16x's minus 35. I saw your hand up, Christian. What's up?
Will we lose points if we don't simplify on the test?
Yes, so on a problem like this, I would give, if I was grading the final right now for the area of the sum, I would give you a point for 12x squared, a point for 16x, a point for negative 35. If you write it this way, without simplifying it, you're getting the point for 12x squared, you're getting the point for negative 35, but then you're losing that middle point there. Okay, so at this point, when we first start this out, good question. When we first start this out, I don't take off a point because we're learning how to do it, and it's okay that we don't remember to simplify. But now, since we're at the end of our of the semester, we have to remember to simplify. So if you forget, you're still going to get 2 out of 3 points, right? But that last point isn't so hard to get. You just have to write out that you're combining them. Really, really good question. Alrighty. Any questions with A? Let's see, we got about 20 minutes left of class. I think maybe we could start B. We can try B as well, because B is kind of different. But I wanted to make sure are there any questions with A? Honestly, guys, I just see generic rectangles as puzzles, right? You have some pieces of the puzzle, and you're using the outside pieces to fill in the inside. That's all I see it as. So when we get to B, this is really a puzzle, because now what this is saying is you don't know all of the pieces on the outside. We don't know this term here. We don't know this term here. But they are telling us some terms that are inside. So we need to have this help us discover what are all of these missing pieces. So let's do this, because this might be helpful. For this bottom, go ahead and copy that down. I forgot to mention that. Copy down that rectangle setup as you see it. And we're going to see if we can work. We're just going to start this off. I'm not going to do it all with you right now, but I think I can at least start you off, and hopefully you can figure out the rest afterwards. Maybe we'll do it. Let's see. How much more do we have to do here? Whoops, go away. Let me look real quick. How many other problems did we want to do? We wanted to do 2 more. Yeah, I don't think we can finish this one. So let me just start you off, and we will definitely do it. Yes, Carla. Carla asked a question. Carla said if you have 5y times x, does it equal 5xy? Yes, it does. It also equals 5yx, but that should look weird to you because we always do alphabetical order. So you could write 5yx, but we always try to put it alphabetical order. Yeah. All right, so let's do this real quick. What's going to go in this box here? Let me know in chat. This is just taking the 2 sides, multiplying it to get the inside. So we have negative 3 times 2x. What's going to go inside here? I don't think it's going to be y. I don't think y goes here. I think y is going to pop up somewhere, Daniel, but I don't think it's going to go here. All right, Isabella's thinking negative 6x. I'm thinking, I kind of like that, negative 6x. I think what she did is she took the 2 times the negative 3. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. I only have 1 x here, so I can put that x in there. Okay, now look what happens when we go to the right. When I go to the right, I know that I'm multiplying negative 3 by something in this box. And whatever I multiply negative 3 by, it becomes negative 3y. So what would I have to put in this box down here so that when I multiply it by negative 3, I'll get negative 3y? What do we think? What goes in my green highlighted box? I got to multiply something by negative 3 so that we get negative 3y. Hey, Daniel's coming through now with the correct answer. Yeah, you were just a little early. So we want to put here a y. The reason why we're putting the y there is because negative 3 times the y gives you negative 3y. So you see how you kind of had to work backwards on that, right? It wasn't just so straightforward. It's not just, oh, negative 3 times 2x gives me this. Now you had to think about, oh, okay, I want to make negative 3y. I have a negative 3 here. What would work to get that? Let's see if we can do this one over here, and then I'll have you do the rest on your own. We want a 6x squared. Okay, we want to get 6x squared. We're using 2x to multiply it to get 6x squared. Ooh, so I'm seeing two different answers, and let's go over it. Because I like the answers that I saw. Okay, he's correcting himself. All right, yeah. So it's going to be 3x. It's going to be 3x because 2 times 3 gives you the 6. X times x gives you the x squared. Okay? If I had listened to Daniel initially and put a 2 there, then I would have had x times x squared. So inside here, this would have needed to have a 3 as the exponent. And that's not what we wanted. We didn't want to change that. Okay? All right. I think you guys can finish the rest of this on your own. The rest of it is just a standard generic rectangle. You'll write your product. You'll write your sum. And again, make sure you're combining like terms that you see. All righty. Super good. Any questions with that before we move on? 'Cause we got like 15 minutes left. Yes, Carla. I wouldn't mark you down for that, Carla. Here's a general rule of thumb, guys. Let's say when you're writing out an expression, the squared terms always go first. Like this is just a standard way of writing it out. You always write the squared first. Remember back, do I have my bag with me? Oh, I do. Look at me being prepared. Remember when I broke these out earlier in the year? We had our algebra tiles. Right? Remember we were doing those online? Remember, this was the y squared. This was the x squared. These are the bigger tiles. That is literally what I wrote there. X squared plus y squared. When I then write plus, 2x plus 4y, the reason why I write the x and the y after those is because those are the smaller, if I can get them out, those are the smaller shapes. See how these are smaller versions of those? So you always write big, let me flip it. You always write big to little. And then your question, Carla, was where do you put the xy? If you remember, xy is bigger than these guys here. So let me erase that real quick. We would want an xy in the middle of those x and y's, okay? I'm not going to take off points if you don't know how to arrange them when you write them out, because that's not what we're testing right now. But that's just a good rule of thumb to remember. Always do your squareds first. Then you write the xy if you have a combo. And then the single letters by themselves at the end. Okay? Always in alphabetical order. That's a good question.